Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a really quick nautical kind of 4th of July inspired nail art look featuring 1776 from Colores de Carol. Unfortunately, this polish is currently sold out, but fingers crossed she'll bring it back next year or even make different finishes of this type of jelly because I love the larger circle glitters. So go ahead and show you how 1776 swatched on my natural nail in case you find it in a D-stash or up for sale or anything like that. This is a deep navy jelly base with a ton of different glitters in blue, red, and silver, especially those larger hollow glitters are my absolute all-time favorite. Here's a quick look at that brush shot, and I'll show you how 1776 swatched on my natural nail. This is a jelly polish. It's almost what I would call like a jelly sandwich in a bottle. It gives you a ton of depth and a ton of glitters. This first coat goes on a really smooth, just a little bit sheer, so I'll let that dry and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. I did find that I kind of had to manipulate the glitters a little bit to get them nice and spread out on the nail like I wanted, but that's really not an issue at all. Here's a look at that second coat. This adds more of that navy base, adds a little bit of depth, and I also got one of those larger circle glitters. These were not hard to fish out at all. They kind of just came out on their own. So I'll show you how this builds up with a third coat. This third coat again adds a ton of depth, a ton of glitters. I did stop here. If you wanted to, you could absolutely go in for a fourth for even more depth. I did have a tiny flash of nail line, but it really kind of adds to the look. I did have to do a little bit of cleanup there with acetone and a cleanup brush. So here's a look at that completed mani of 1776 at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. I love how those big circle holographic glitters reflect the light in that jelly base. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. This is my swatch photo underneath the artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle again in that direct sunlight. So for my nail art today, I'm featuring products that were sent to me for review from BornPrettyStore. First, I'll be showing you the stamping plate BP-L068. This is a very nautical theme plate. Every image on this plate picks up perfectly. It does have that blue film, so I'm going to go ahead and use tweezers and remove that. You can totally see my slack face reflection in the stamping plate there. So I thought that I would show you how some of the images picked up, but really they all pick up great. I'm going to be using Tux Polish's Pure to stamp today. I did focus on the anchor there on the bottom row. That was kind of my favorite image, I think, from this plate. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in there. So here's a little swatch of Tux Polish's Pure. I did apply it pretty generously to that image, give a firm scrape downwards and then an upwards roll with my Creative Shop stamper. I did have to do a little bit of cleanup with a lint roller brush to kind of remove any of the excess pattern that I picked up on my stamper, but now I'm just going to go ahead and place that directly on my ring nail, and this transferred so easily and so perfect that almost looks like a decal to me. I'm just absolutely in love with that image. So next I'll be top coating with HK Girl by Glistening Glow. I had no smearing, and it also levels out any of those larger glitters that may have bumped up the texture a little bit. So on my middle nail, I'm doing something else a little different. I'll be using the Born Pretty Stamping Guide G003. So this is the one with more of the lines and kind of images like that. I will have a full review of this in a separate nail art look, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I used it today. I used that Tux Polish's Pure and kind of filled in this chevron image. I did apply it fairly generously and then scraped it down like I would a stamping plate. This is more used for on top of stamping plates just to pick up a little bit of that image, but I really wanted a chevron image and I don't have one anywhere in my collection. So then I scraped firmly downwards and gave an upwards roll. This did give me an excess of polish on my stamper, so honestly I would just scrape it like that and then move the stamping image and use what's left on your mat as a decal. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it transferred on my middle nail. I did have to do a ton of cleanup here and maybe even cleaned up those lines a little bit with a small detail brush. Still a really easy way to get a nice chevron on your nail really quickly. I didn't realize the stripes were quite so thick, so that might be something that I would change next time as well. I'm going to go in and clean that up with acetone and a cleanup brush, and then top coat once more with HK Girl by Glistening Glow. And even though that was a lot of white polish on my nail, HK Girl didn't smear it at all. I had no problem, so that just caps the tip there. So here's a look at my completed nautical themed 4th of July mani underneath my artificial lighting, and then here's a swatch photo once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So if you'd like to see any more photos of any of these images, I do have those on my blog at sloppyswatches.com. I will link all the products that are in stock down in the description box as well as their social media. So if you'd like, you could also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.